After 60, your body isn't the same, and neither is the way it handles even the healthiest fruits. Something as innocent as a ripe banana before bed or a morning glass of orange juice could silently raise your risk of a stroke. Why? Because age changes how we process potassium, sugar, and acidity. And when mixed with common medications like blood thinners or diuretics, the results can be dangerous, sometimes even life-threatening. Recent studies from the NIH and American Heart Association confirm that certain fruits, once considered heart smart, can actually disrupt hydration, affect blood viscosity, and trigger nighttime blood pressure drops in older adults. In today's video, we're diving into 8 fruits you must approach with caution after 60. A few might truly surprise you. Before we get into it, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to Elderly Health Tips, where staying informed could save your life. There are some incredibly familiar fruits that we'd never expect to cause harm, and right at the top of the list is grapefruit. That's not just a minor interaction. It's a silent danger sitting in your fruit bowl. The problem with grapefruit is that it doesn't just reduce how your medication works, it can actually cause the opposite, a medication overdose without changing your dose. You didn't take more pills, but your body suddenly absorbs way more than it should, simply because you drank a glass of juice. And older adults are especially at risk. After 60, liver and kidney functions naturally slow down, making it harder for the body to filter and eliminate excess medication. Now add grapefruit to the mix, and you've got a perfect storm for toxicity. For example, let's say you've been on simvastatin for a few years without any issues. Then one morning, you switch orange juice for fresh squeezed grapefruit. You feel fine. Until a few days later, you start getting unusual muscle pain. It might not seem like much at first, just stiffness or soreness. But according to the Journal of Clinical Lipidology, unchecked simvastatin buildup can lead to rhabdomyolysis, a condition that breaks down muscle tissue and floods your kidneys with waste. That's how people end up hospitalized and sometimes on dialysis. Even with amlodipine, one of the most common blood pressure meds in the US, grapefruit can raise drug levels enough to cause swelling in the legs, low blood pressure, dizziness, or even a slow heartbeat, all of which are especially risky if you live alone or drive. And with drugs like amiodarone, you're talking about serious rhythm issues. This isn't just skipping a beat, it could mean fainting, severe shortness of breath, or in rare cases, sudden cardiac arrest. That's why both the FDA and Mayo Clinic list grapefruit as a do not take food with dozens of prescription meds, not because it's poisonous, but because it messes with the very system your body relies on to handle medicine safely. The real danger with grapefruit, it doesn't wave a red flag. You don't break out in hives. You don't feel sick right away. It's a slow, silent buildup, especially in older adults whose liver and kidneys can't clear excess medication as quickly as they used to. You may feel fine for days or even weeks, while toxic levels are quietly creeping up in your bloodstream. That's why this isn't something to gamble with. If you love citrus, go with safer choices like oranges, apples, or strawberries. They don't interfere with medication metabolism, so you can enjoy them without second-guessing every bite or sip. And here's something I always tell my patients. If you're taking medications like statins, blood pressure pills, immunosuppressants, or anti-anxiety meds, talk to your doctor or pharmacist before reaching for grapefruit. Even if it's just once in a while, it's worth double-checking. Because this interaction isn't dose-dependent, sometimes even half a grapefruit or a few ounces of juice is enough to throw your medication levels off. Still unsure? Play it safe and avoid grapefruit entirely. With so many other delicious fruits out there, there's just no good reason to take the risk, especially when your health depends on your meds working exactly as intended. And now, coming in as the second fruit one that's also very familiar to us, papaya. As a physician, with over 4 decades of experience treating older adults, I've learned that sometimes it's not the pills, but the plate of fruit on the table that makes the difference. And papayas, that soft orange tropical fruit, can be one of those hidden risks. Here's why. Papaya contains papain, an enzyme naturally found in the fruit's flesh and latex. Papain is often marketed for digestive health, but multiple studies, including one published in the Journal of Clinical Pharmacology, 2022, have shown that it also has anticoagulant properties. In simple terms, it acts like a mild blood thinner. Now, that might not sound scary until you combine it with common medications many seniors take, like aspirin, warfarin, Coumadin, clopidogrel, Plavix, or apixaban, Eliquis. According to data from the CDC, nearly 1 in 3 adults over 65 in the U.S. takes at least one blood-thinning medication to manage stroke, heart attack risk, or atrial fibrillation. When papain enters the bloodstream either through supplement use or even frequent dietary consumption of papaya, it can enhance the effects of those drugs. A report from the Mayo Clinic warns that combining natural anticoagulants with prescribed ones increases the risk of internal bleeding, bruising, or hemorrhagic stroke, especially in older adults with reduced liver metabolism and kidney function. So what should you do? Moderation is key. A few small bites of papaya once in a while likely won't hurt. But if you're on blood thinners like warfarin or Eliquis, eating papaya every day can be risky, especially because of the enzyme papain, which may further thin your blood. Avoid papain supplements unless they're specifically recommended by your doctor. Many over-the-counter digestive enzyme blends contain papain, and they often fly under the radar. Patients don't even realize they're taking something that could interact with their meds. Pay attention to early warning signs: unexplained bruising, frequent nosebleeds, gums that bleed when brushing, or cuts that take too long to clot. Even dark stools can be a sign your blood is too thin and you need to tell your doctor right away. Always keep your doctor in the loop when you change your diet, especially if you start eating more tropical fruits, drinking fresh juices, or taking herbal supplements. What seems natural isn't always harmless. The National Institutes of Health, NIH, reminds us that older adults don't process drugs the same way younger people do. As we age, our liver and kidneys slow down, making even mild compounds like papain potentially more powerful than expected, especially when combined with prescription meds. And here's something I often tell my patients in their 50s. The ones approaching retirement: don't wait for something to go wrong to start asking questions. Food-drug interactions don't wait until you're 80 to show up. They creep in quietly at 60, 55, sometimes earlier. It's not about fear. It's about staying ahead of the game so you can enjoy this chapter of life with confidence and control. Now, let's move on to the third fruit one that's likely sitting right on your kitchen table: the banana. Most people associate bananas with potassium, energy, and digestion. But few realize that as bananas ripen, their chemical profile changes dramatically, and that can spell trouble for older adults, especially those with blood pressure issues, diabetes, or impaired kidney function. Let's start with the glycemic index, GIA, measure of how quickly food raises blood sugar. A slightly underripe banana has a GI of around 51, which is considered moderate. But once that banana becomes overripe, with dark spots and a mushy texture, the GI climbs to around 62-65, according to Harvard Medical School's Health Publishing. That's because starches in the banana break down into simple sugars, which enter the bloodstream much faster, leading to spikes in blood glucose. For a healthy person, this might not matter. But for the 37.3 million Americans with diabetes, CDC 2022, especially those over 60, these sudden spikes can lead to energy crashes, poor insulin control, and even increase the risk of cognitive decline. Now let's talk potassium. One medium banana contains around 422 milligrams of potassium, according to the USDA nutrient database. That's about 9% of the recommended daily intake, which is generally a good thing. But if you eat 2 overripe bananas, and you're also taking ACE inhibitors like lisinopril, or potassium-sparing diuretics like spironolactone, you may be pushing your potassium into dangerous territory. The National Institutes of Health, NIH, warns that hyperkalemia-high potassium levels in the blood can lead to irregular heartbeat, muscle weakness, and even cardiac arrest, especially in older adults whose kidney function naturally declines with age. Timing matters too. Eating a banana first thing in the morning, especially on an empty stomach after a night without water, can spike your blood sugar and potassium levels fast. That's because your body is slightly dehydrated when you wake up, your blood is more concentrated, and your kidneys aren't fully awake yet. So they struggle to filter potassium efficiently or keep blood sugar in check, especially if you're over 60 or taking heart or blood pressure meds. So what's the smart move? Pair your banana with protein or healthy fat like a spoonful of peanut butter or some Greek yogurt. This helps slow down how quickly your body absorbs the sugars, making it easier on your blood vessels, pancreas, and heart. Avoid eating overripe bananas first thing in the morning, especially if you're on medications like ACE inhibitors, beta blockers, or potassium-sparing diuretics. These drugs can already raise potassium, and a mushy banana on top of that is just asking for trouble. Got bananas that are too soft? Don't toss them, freeze them. They're great for baking or smoothies later in the day. Cooking or blending with other ingredients can help reduce how quickly your body absorbs the sugar, making it a gentler option. And don't skip water. Drinking a full glass in the morning before or with your banana gives your kidneys a head start. That means better potassium balance, smoother blood flow, and less strain on your heart. Bottom line, bananas are healthy, but when, how, and what you pair them with can make all the difference. It's not just what you eat that matters after 60. It's how your body responds, and smart timing can keep you feeling your best all day long. Now we're on to the fourth fruit, grapes. Grapes are often seen as the poster child for heart-healthy snacking. They're small, sweet, and easy to pop into your mouth without guilt. But here's the problem. Grapes are loaded with fructosia, natural sugar that can cause silent damage to your blood vessels, especially in older adults. Let's look at the numbers. 1 cup of grapes contains about 23 grams of sugar, with roughly 85–90% of it being fructose. According to Harvard Health Publishing, that's more sugar than in the same amount of soda. And while fructose doesn't cause blood sugar to spike quite as fast as glucose, it does increase inflammation and is metabolized directly by the liver. Over time, this can lead to fatty liver, elevated triglycerides, insulin resistance, and increased vascular inflammation. A major study published in the American Journal of Clinical Nutrition, 2019, found that high fructose intake, especially from fruit juice and soft fruits like grapes was, associated with a 26% higher risk of developing cardiovascular events in older adults, particularly those with metabolic syndrome or borderline hypertension. Even worse, grapes have almost no fiber, under 1 gram per cup, which means the sugar hits your system fast, especially if you eat them on an empty stomach or in large amounts. Without protein or fat to slow down absorption, your body goes into a metabolic spike, triggering oxidative stress that damages your endothelial cells, the thin layer lining your blood vessels. This damage has been linked to increased risk of clot formation, especially in those with existing cardiovascular issues or a history of stroke. So how can you enjoy grapes safely without spiking your blood sugar or putting extra strain on your heart? Stick to a small portion, about 15 to 20 grapes per serving, or roughly half a cup. That gives you the antioxidants and hydration benefits without going overboard on natural sugars. Grapes are sweet and easy to overeat, but remember, even natural sugar is still sugar, especially after 60. Always pair grapes with some protein or healthy fat, like a handful of almonds, a slice of cheese, or a scoop of Greek yogurt. This combo slows down how quickly the sugar hits your bloodstream, helps you feel fuller, longer, and gives your body a more balanced nutrient boost. Go for red or black grapes instead of green. Red grapes are richer in resveratrol, a powerful anti-inflammatory antioxidant that helps protect blood vessels and offset some of the effects of fructose. It's a small swap that goes a long way. Stay hydrated. It's easy to forget, but mild dehydration, especially in the morning or after a walk, makes your blood thicker. That means sugar circulates more slowly and puts added pressure on your heart and arteries. Drinking a full glass of water before or with your snack keeps everything flowing smoothly. If you have diabetes, prediabetes, or take blood thinners, talk to your doctor or dietitian about how to safely fit fruit into your day, even fruits like grapes that seem healthy. The truth is, timing, quantity, and pairings matter more than ever as we age. Bottom line, grapes aren't the enemy, but how you eat them makes a real difference. At this stage of life, every bite should support your long-term health. Smart choices don't mean giving things up. They mean enjoying what you love wisely and with confidence. Next up is a juicy tropical fruit, pineapple. Let's start with one of pineapple's most celebrated nutrients, bromelain. It's a natural enzyme found in the fruit's core and juice that helps break down proteins, which is why pineapple is often praised for digestion. But bromelain also has a powerful secondary effect. It thins the blood. According to a National Institutes of Health (NIH) review on dietary supplements, bromelain has antithrombotic properties. It slows clot formation and reduces platelet stickiness. That may sound beneficial until it interacts with common blood-thinning medications like warfarin, aspirin, clopidogrel, Plavix, apixaban, Eliquis, or rivaroxaban, Xarelto. A 2021 meta-analysis published in Phytomedicine found that bromelain supplementation increased bleeding risk in patients already on anticoagulant therapy. In fact, researchers highlighted pineapple as one of the top natural sources that can amplify pharmaceutical blood thinners. 1 cup of fresh pineapple contains about 150 milligrams of bromelain, though the exact amount varies based on ripeness and how it's prepared. But here's the catch. A bromelain isn't just in pill sits in every juicy bite. And for seniors, whose platelet function and clotting factors naturally decline with age, this can push the balance toward dangerous bleeding. Let me share a case. Mrs. Lawson, 69, from North Carolina, had been on a stable warfarin dose for over a year following a mild stroke. She started blending pineapple smoothies at night, aiming to detox and improve digestion. Within 10 days, she developed spontaneous bruising, minor gum bleeding, and dizzy spells. Her INR level was 4.1, far above the therapeutic range. After cutting pineapple from her diet and adjusting her medication, her levels returned to normal within a week. But blood isn't the only concern. Pineapple is also very acidic, with a pH around 3.2 to 4.0, making it one of the most acid-forming fruits. For older adults especially, those with GERD, acid reflux, sleep apnea, or nasal congestion, this can spell trouble at night. According to a Cleveland Clinic report on nocturnal reflux, highly acidic foods like pineapple eaten within 2-3 hours of bedtime can lead to silent reflux, where acid creeps up the esophagus without triggering heartburn, reducing oxygen absorption during sleep. Over time, this can worsen morning fatigue, headaches, memory fog, and even irregular heartbeat. And here's something most people miss. Pineapple is also very high in sugar, about 16 grams per cup, mostly from natural fructose. While it's not as concerning as processed sugar, pairing high sugar with acidity on an empty or dehydrated stomach can trigger glucose spikes and reflux-related inflammation, especially in older adults with sluggish digestion and reduced nighttime gastric emptying. So, what can you do? Portion control is key. Keep it to half a cup, roughly 5-6 chunks, if you're on blood thinners. Avoid pineapple within 2-3 hours of bedtime, especially if you have reflux or sleep apnea. Never eat it on an empty stomach. Combine it with protein or healthy fats, like cottage cheese, chia pudding, or a few almonds, to reduce acid impact. Stay hydrated. Dehydration worsens blood, viscosity, and acid sensitivity, 2 big concerns for seniors. Watch for bleeding signs, easy bruising, nosebleeds, gum bleeding, or fatigue. If you're on anticoagulants, check your INR regularly. Coming in at number 6, watermelon. Most people think watermelon is one of the best fruits for hydration. And yes, it's 92% water, which is great during the day. But what many don't realize is that watermelon is also a natural diuretic. especially due to its high levels of citrulline and potassium. These compounds stimulate kidney function, which can increase urination, great benefit if you're overheated, but a potential problem if you're already on diuretics or have cardiovascular risks. According to the National Institutes of Health, NIH, the average adult loses between 1 to 1.5 liters of water overnight, mainly through breathing and urine. If you add watermelon to your evening routine, especially after taking a prescribed diuretic like hydrochlorothiazide, furosemide, Lasix, or spironolactone, you risk overnight dehydration. That matters because when the body becomes dehydrated during sleep, blood volume decreases, making your blood thicker and slower to circulate. The American Heart Association, AHAA, reports that blood viscosity thickness is highest between 4 a.m. and 10 a.m., the same window when most heart attacks and strokes occur in seniors. A study published in the Journal of the American College of Cardiology, 2021, found that older adults with reduced hydration had a 35% increased risk of early morning ischemic events, especially those taking antihypertensive medications. Now, combine all of that with watermelon's potassium load, 170 milligrams per 100 GAN, the impact becomes clear. While potassium is vital for heart health, too much, too fast, especially in dehydrated conditions or alongside potassium-sparing meds, can contribute to arrhythmias or muscle cramps. And it's not just about water loss. Watermelon contains 6 to 9 grams of sugar per 100 G, mostly in the form of fructose. When eaten on an empty stomach or late at night, this can lead to glucose spikes followed by insulin crashes, especially in older adults with impaired glucose tolerance or prediabetesa group that now includes more than 48% of Americans over age 65, according to CDC data, 2022. So how can you enjoy watermelon without risking your health? Eat it earlier in the day, ideally before 6 p.m. This gives your body time to flush and rebalance before bedtime. Don't pair it with diuretics. Avoid eating watermelon right after taking water pills. Wait a few hours or skip it altogether that day. Hydrate intentionally for every cup of watermelon. Drink at least 4-6 ounces of plain water to offset diuretic effects. Avoid eating it alone. Pair it with protein or fat to slow sugar absorption and improve fluid balance. For example, with cottage cheese or a handful of almonds. Start with smaller portions a cup or less is plenty for most seniors, especially those on medication. The fruit at number 7, I'm sure everyone knows, is orange, including orange juice. Most people consider oranges and orange juice to be symbols of wellness rich in vitamin C, fiber, and antioxidants. But if you're over 60 and taking medications, there's a hidden risk you need to know about. Oranges, especially Seville oranges and orange juice, contain a natural compound called furanocoumarin. This compound interferes with a crucial liver enzyme called CYP3A4, which belongs to the larger CYP450 family responsible for breaking down nearly 50% of all prescribed drugs, according to the U.S. National Library of Medicine, NIH. When furanocoumarins block CYP3A4, your body cannot properly metabolize medications. This leads to a drug buildup in your bloodstream, increasing the risk of toxicity, even if you're taking the correct dose. According to a study published in the American Journal of Clinical Nutrition, drinking orange juice with medications like statins, calcium channel blockers, and anticoagulants can raise drug levels in the blood by up to 200-300%. For example, simvastatin levels were shown to double in the presence of orange juice. Amlodipine, a common blood pressure drug, showed a 30-50% increase in blood concentration when combined with citrus juices. Warfarin, a blood thinner, becomes less predictable in effect, making it harder to maintain a safe therapeutic window. The FDA warns against using fruit juices, including orange, grapefruit, and apple juice, when taking medications that are metabolized by CYP3A4. Although grapefruit is more potent, orange juice, especially in daily or large quantities, can still cause significant drug interactions, especially in older adults with slower liver metabolism and kidney clearance. Let me share a real case. One of my patients, Mr. Whitaker, 74 from Tennessee, was taking atorvastatin for cholesterol and clopidogrel after a minor cardiac event. He was also drinking about 8 ounces of orange juice each morning, believing it would boost immunity. After about a month, he started experiencing muscle weakness, frequent nosebleeds, and unexplained fatigue. Blood tests revealed his statin levels were nearly triple the expected therapeutic concentration. His platelet function was also altered, increasing his risk of bleeding. Once we removed orange juice from his morning routine and spaced his citrus intake away from his meds, the symptoms improved in under 2 weeks. So how does this affect older adults specifically? After age 60, liver enzyme activity declines naturally, and so does kidney function. This means even a small change in drug clearance can lead to significant side effects. According to Harvard Health, older adults are more likely to take multiple medications at an average of 5 or more per day, which increases the chance of interactions. This also matters because orange juice is absorbed rapidly, contains high levels of fructose, around 21-24 g per 8 ounces glass, and lacks fiber, making its impact on drug absorption and metabolism even more unpredictable. So what should you do? Always take medications with water, not juice. This is the safest practice across the board. If you enjoy orange juice, wait at least 4-6 hours after taking your medications, especially if you're on statins, blood thinners, or blood pressure meds. Choose whole oranges over juice. They contain less furanocoumarin, more fiber, and are absorbed more slowly. If you're unsure about interactions, ask your pharmacist or doctor before combining fruit juices with your prescriptions. Monitor for signs of drug accumulation, unusual fatigue, muscle pain, dizziness or low blood pressure, easy bruising or prolonged bleeding. Even symptoms that seem mild can be early red flag sign for older adults. Small missteps can lead to big consequences. And this is the final fruit I urge you to think twice about before eating mango. Mango is often marketed as a superfruit rich in vitamin C, antioxidants, and fiber. And while it does offer health benefits, its sugar load and compound interactions can become a real problem as we age. According to the U.S. Department of Agriculture, USDA, 1 cup of sliced mango contains approximately 45 grams of total sugar, including about 31 grams of natural glucose and fructose. That's more sugar than an entire 12 ounces can of Coca-Cola. Here's the issue. Sugar is sugar, regardless of the source. And when you consume that much in one sitting, especially without protein, fiber, or fat to slow absorption, your blood sugar can spike sharply. In people over 60, insulin sensitivity is already declining naturally, which means your body doesn't handle sugar the way it used to. According to the CDC, nearly 50% of Americans over age 65 have prediabetes or type 2 diabetes. A 2020 report from the American Diabetes Association, ADA, emphasized that fructose-rich fruits like mango may contribute to worsening insulin resistance if consumed in excess, particularly in processed forms like dried mango, which is far more concentrated. Let's talk numbers. 1 cup of fresh mango, 45 g sugar, approximately 100 calories. 1/2 cup of dried mango, up to 70 g sugar, approximately 160 calories. Fiber per serving, less than 3 g, which means very little slowing of sugar absorption. But sugar is only half the story. Mango also contains a lesser-known compound called mangiferin. While it's often praised for its antioxidant properties, mangiferin also has the ability to inhibit cytochrome P450 enzymes, particularly CYP3A4 and CYP2C9, which are responsible for metabolizing a wide range of medications. According to research published in the Journal of Ethnopharmacology and supported by NIH Pharmacology Reviews, this interaction can cause slower drug clearance, meaning your medications stay in the bloodstream longer and can build up over time. This matters a lot for people on common drugs like statins, for example, simvastatin, atorvastatin, antihypertensives, for example, amlodipine, losartan, diabetes meds, for example, metformin, glipizide, blood thinners, for example, warfarin. For seniors whose liver and kidney functions are already slowing with age, this can lead to unintended drug toxicity, even if you're taking the correct dosage. Let me give you a real patient case. Mr. Harmon, 70, from Ohio, had been managing his cholesterol and diabetes well for years. One summer, he started eating mango daily, both fresh and dried. Within a few weeks, his blood sugar readings jumped from 130 to 210 milligrams DL fasting, and he began experiencing dizziness and nausea. His lab work showed elevated statin levels and a slightly prolonged prothrombin time, indicating a risk for bleeding. The culprit? A mix of high sugar load and CYP 450 inhibition from daily mango. So what can you do to stay safe and still enjoy mango? Limit your serving to 1/2 cup fresh or 1-2 slices dried, especially if you're on medication. Avoid mango at night when insulin sensitivity is lowest and digestion slows. Never eat mango alone paired with a source of protein or fat to blunt the glucose response. If you're diabetic or on liver metabolized meds, monitor blood sugar more closely after mango-heavy meals. Drink plenty of water. High sugar plus dehydration is a common trigger for vascular strain in older adults. So now you know even the healthiest looking fruits can turn risky after 60. Grapefruit, papaya, bananas, grapes, pineapple, watermelon, oranges, and mango, they're not bad, but they can become dangerous in the wrong time, wrong combination, or with the wrong meds. As our bodies change, so should the way we eat. Don't let habit or sweetness fool you. Your health deserves smarter choices, starting today. If you found this helpful, please take a moment to like this video, share it with someone you care about, and subscribe to Elderly Health Tips. We're here to help you age stronger, wiser, and safer.